Hello, welcome to Optional Enterprises Watchlist. It's going to be for the week of October 28th, 2019. We've got Apple reporting this week, FOMC, so big week this week, and market hovering at all-time highs. You can see that we are just hanging out. NDX made new highs. So we're looking for the SPX and the Dow Jones to follow suit. Dow Jones seems less likely as we just seem to be stuck in this wedge here. But SPX could definitely make it this week, especially if Apple turns out to be positive, and that could just be where Apple sells off and gets that nice strong rally, just like Amazon gave us that strong rally on Friday. So something to keep an eye out for this week. I think it's a little more prudent to take a longer term look at the SPY. Some option order flow definitely suggests we are looking at some calls this week. Possibly not right in the Monday, but possibly Tuesday, Wednesday into the FOMC, and then after FOMC we could be looking at a strong rally. Take a look at some of those orders and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so looking at our option chain here, it definitely looks like to me that we're looking at 301.50 being our support zone. If 301.50 doesn't hold, then definitely around 301. You get 23,000, 29,000 respectively trading at those areas if those can turn into open interest come Monday. Next areas that we're definitely going to be wanting to look at, you can see 305 still maintaining a large open interest. Is not in the money yet at all, but only trading at 1 or 2 cents. That's looking at a nice upper resistance level. First resistance level I'll be watching though is 303, if it can in fact get there. But this week looking at about $1.36 for Monday, so in change. So could be just a flat Monday, especially since we've got Apple earnings coming up, FOMC all Wednesday when Apple's after the market, and 2 o'clock for the FOMC. So we could just be looking at some flat market activity for the SPY. So I won't be focusing too much on the SPY. I'll be trying to post trades this week in my Instagram if I see any to be taken. Last week was pretty difficult for me. Pretty hard to trust the moves. But looking longer term into our option chains, I want to go down to our time and sales here. And we're going to just bump it out to the 30th, and we're going to see some large option order flow happening. So first one we can see here is 298s. These are for October 28th. So definitely looking at 298 not being hit. The delta was 13. That's what it traded at. So 298 being a pretty strong support level. Probably never going to see 298. 303 we had 1500 traded at price of 17 cents, an 18 delta. Usually this would be a sell, and it actually still could be a sell for given the fact that it's going to be Monday, and I don't think we're going to see a $1.40 move. These would have to move substantially for this to become valuable, but it's giving us a nice trading range right here. 298, 303. It's about a $5 trading range, with our lower support really being around 301. Next, we jump out to, these are November 1st, which if we take a look at our calendar, November 1st is going to be Friday. So by Friday, we got some 282 puts, people expecting possibly a large sell-off. That's why these puts are so far below the market. And 303 being a potential resistance area, with 5,000 traded at a 39 delta, so right at that limit there, 40 cents. So definitely I'll be looking at puts off 303 if we can make it there this week. Anything into the week, I'll be looking for support buys, so calls off of Monday. I'll definitely be looking at around 300, calls off of 300, and anything in between I'll be standing aside focusing on some of the watch lists that I'm about to present to you. So longer term, I think SPX or SPY, SPX, whatever, the S&P 500 is definitely looking at a rise up, but with a strong resistance level at 303, which our option order sales definitely seem to confirm. So let's go jump in and see what securities we've got this week. Had a couple big names, pretty excited about it. Let's get some of those wins. So we're going to start off this week with ticker symbol VLO, an energy stock that's had a magnificent run up. See this nice run up. We're now exceeding 100% of this last flag pattern that came in right here. And we're looking for this to actually continue a little higher, so long as we can hold our 97.90 area there. You can see this flag pattern here, the Fibonacci extension right there, pull back, and then there's our 100% mark right there. You can see that we've exceeded that, and we're currently holding at this 97.90 area, and that is where we're hoping for it to hold for a rise up to 103, which is where our open interest suggests that we might find our first bit of resistance. And with energy doing so well recently and the market looking to make new highs, I would expect continuations more than reversals this week. However, if we can't get this 97.90 to hold, then I would expect a pullback to this 100% line here around 93.99. So let's go take a look at some positions and see what we can do to help trade this. Alright guys, so here's the open interest for ticker symbol VLO, and you can see near term there's not a lot going on here. We've got about a $2.75 expected move this week according to our standard deviation, and we don't have a lot of, we see a lot of activity below the market, a lot of volume traded below the market. And these are all at low deltas, our 20 deltas starting off right around here, 40 deltas right around here. So there's our 40, here's our 20s, and that's where most of the activity takes place. So to me, those are option sellers, and we're not expecting anything lower than 97, which definitely supports a pullback to that support zone, which would become the entry zone for a rise up to 103. However, 103 is not demonstrated as a potential resistance level on this expiration day, which is November 1st. But we're going to want to go out a little further to find some of those. So we come out a little further here to November 15th, about 19 days from expiration, and we're starting to see some activity around these 100s, 105s. These to me suggest potential resistance areas, which supports a pullback to 97, then a rise up to around 103, which is a major resistance level or technical level on the chart. So that's what I'll be looking for this week. Pullback to 97, current underlying is at 99.27. It could just continue up, but after this 100% extension, I think a pullback a couple dollars would be in order for a rise up and some longer dated options for November 15th, maybe to get in for a rise up to 103. Alright, ticker symbol AAPL, Apple. This will be heavy focus this week, and I understand that earnings are on the 30th. Typically, I stay away from bigger names like this, especially during earnings. However, this is triggered for a reversal. It's the only thing that brought it to my attention, and the fact that it also has high liquidity. So, as far as playing Apple this week, I've done a little bit of setups here. We can see we've used Fibonacci extensions here, representing this 100% move, and then a bull flag right there. Now that bull flag has played out already, and we can see it there, and it retraced 100% right there, and then we got another bull flag, which I took the liberty of drawing another Fibonacci extension, which has now taken and gone up to its next 100% mark. So can we expect a pullback into a support level? Probably around this 618 or 241.73, and then for it just to chop sideways there for a few days until earnings on the 30th, which could send it higher, possibly up to the 255s, which is where a lot of option open interest has taken place. Large orders around the 255 zone. Or will it follow suit like Amazon and plummet down, maybe down to this nice price cluster right around here, or the previous all-time high, which is right around the 233s zone, while the rest of the market remains the same, and then we do the same thing as Amazon and we shoot straight back up, giving the market just the push it needs to make all-time highs on all indices, since Apple is a part of the SPX, the NDX. It was highly convenient that Amazon made that sell-off, because it was just what the market needed to get that huge rally for the entire day on Friday. Earnings are always speculative. If you are more risk oriented, then you could absolutely be playing this little chop here from $1-2 and in this range, which is where I believe it's going to stay until earnings, which is the 30th, and coincidentally, or maybe not so much, is the FOMC meeting. So Apple earnings plus FOMC meeting, is that going to give us the push we need to make new highs? And then after those new highs, are we going to just stay there, or are we going to sell off? Needless to say, I'm leaning definitely more towards continuation on Apple. Lower price target for me this week is going to be 241.73 until we finally do get to earnings. Then I'll be just standing aside and watching. Absolutely no interest in gambling on that. But again, we could see as high as 255 or as low as down to this 234.12. We take a look at the option chain. It's looking for about 11. I think it's an $11 move, which pretty much supports that direction either way. So let's go take a look at it now, see if there's anything interesting over there for us. Alright, so at first glance on this option chain, we definitely see that there's little to no activity up here on the put sides. We got no volume, really no ads Thursday into Friday, which was justified since it got a $3 move. And we see lots of action close to the market here. Most notably, we've got the 13,000 traded on the 245s, which is right below the market right now. And you can see just a lot of speculative bets up here, ranging as high as these 275s. Looking for a nice pop up coming into earnings. I think they're all a little early to the party, personally. I've never been one for sitting through earnings. It's not enough Tums in the world for that. So again, we're looking at an $11.83 move. We're going to be wanting to pay attention to this straddle price come earnings day. So on the 29th, you definitely going to want to be looking at that. Implied volatility, though, not too high considering, it's Apple. You were looking at, what was it, Amazon. I don't know what that thing was, 160%. Tesla was somewhere like 180. So are we going to get the boost from Apple that we need? There's a lot of expectation going into this one. Right now, I'm looking at lower support level definitely being around this 240 area. And earnings could take us all the way up to 255. But if we get to that 255, that's where I'll definitely be looking for a reversal. But keep in mind that this one is triggered for a reversal, and 90% of the time the reversals come right away when it's triggered in the way that it's been triggered. So we could be looking at a quick sell-off for Apple in the Monday. Definitely not putting any price targets on this one because we are looking at earnings, but as far into earnings, I'm definitely willing to play it down to the 240 area and look for calls off of 240 If it rises up to 255, looking for puts off 255. Alright, so our next symbol here is BYND, Beyond Meat, another big name that happened to come across the scanner. So we're in a high volatility environment in this one, so definitely could be looking to lose some money on some volatility here. That volatility this week is going to lose us about 5 cents for every percent that we lose. But we can already see that we've started a big proportion of it already here. Starting at 1.11, we're now down to around 97. So we've already lost about 15 percentage points on it, which is a great start for us. And it is triggered for a reversal into this strong support zone. The actual support that I like the most is actually at 94.03, but we're still holding at this little chop area right here, where it bounced back and forth. So so long as we can hold inside this zone, specifically if I'm going to trade it this week, should I decide to, I'm looking at the low of this candle as my minimum hold, which is around 96.15. So 96.15 and a hold of our trend line here could signal to me that it could be a great chance to get in. Definitely got some orders that we want to be watching. You can see I've added some notes here for the November 15th. Had 5,000 puts added on the 23rd, which was back here before this large drop, and then we had 5,000 puts added on the 24th again, which is now where we're finding support. So these to me suggest either we're going much lower, which means maybe down to the 75 zone, or we found a temporary support level and we're looking for a rise up, which is what the reversal would suggest that has been triggered. So let's go take a look at our open interest and some positions and see what we find there. Alright, so most notably we can see that we've had some activity around these hundreds. Had about 1,000 traded on those for 2,431 open interest on the 100 strikes for the puts. And you can see that we had some adding going Thursday and Friday on some pretty bearish activity. So are these options sellers? That is the big question. If these are in fact option sellers calling a support level around the 100, which the chart definitely supports, then we can speculate that these over here are in fact buyers and they're looking for a rise up. But remember, Beyond is in a downtrend, so at least the path of least resistance is obviously down, especially given the mania that happened with Beyond. Straight up prices, never-ending run up. It seems like the sellers are certainly in control, so definitely want to watch this one play out before taking entries. You can see these options are very high priced. Theta, $62 a day, so it's pretty expensive to hold this. You're losing looks like just a little under 10% of your option every day that you're wrong. So something to keep in mind. It is triggered for a reversal to the upside, and like I said, the chart does support 100 being a nice support level. If these 1600 change into open interest on Monday, popping these into a nice 3,000 number, or even if they're decreasing, then we could definitely speculate that all these big orders here are call sellers, and that these were an exit of this position in an expectation that it's no longer going to go lower. The theta is no longer worth the risk, and they're selling some puts because they don't believe it's going to go any lower, and we're looking for a moderate rise up. Now, finding 100% return on this one, it would have to move pretty drastically. Let's see, we got about a 50 delta, so to get $7, you're looking at about a $14 move. Doesn't seem too likely with Beyond, but you could still generate some good returns even if you just did some day trades. I'll be looking at day trades for Beyond this week. It definitely has some interest, especially since it was triggered for the reversal. Upper price target this week, if 100 is our support and these are new buyers, I'm looking at 105. Then next level, 110. Alright guys, so our next symbol here is ticker symbol MPC, Marathon Petroleum, another energy stock. And this one is triggered for a reversal. However, like I said, this week we are looking for continuations more than we are reversals, simply because, well, the market looks like it's trying to push higher. And if the market goes higher, then it's going to carry many of our securities with it. So again, MPC, we see the same pattern as we see in a lot of our strong rallying stocks right now. We've got some Fibonacci extensions here, and we got our first one here back to August 26th. Got a nice rally up with a short down, bringing it its 100% mark up here to around the 61 level, which it in fact rallied to, broke above just slightly, came back down, and you can see we're close to our 100% mark, which is around 69.78, which is about $1.70 away right now. Now normally I'd be saying watch for a pop there and then a fall back. However, some interesting open interest positions opened up Thursday, Friday. Definitely suggests that we're looking for a breakthrough this critical area. And why is it critical? Well, we can see this area here, which we'll just make a little bigger for all of us to see. So we see this area here, which served as a breakthrough for a rise up, breakthrough for a fall down, then eventually held this area, bounced around here, fell back down, became resistance. So this is a very critical area for this particular security, and that's right where we are now. So we could be looking for a breakthrough of this major trend line, major resistance level, strong price cluster. There's going to be some activity here. So it is triggered for reversals. We could most definitely be looking at a fallback. That is not completely out of the cards. But if we can hold this rally, and right now, we're looking at 65.77 being the lower support of this candle. That's where price actually fell down to, but I'd be looking for these fib levels to hold. 67.31, we can get something like this area to hold, see some increasing volume like we have been seeing. Then I think a rise up through 70 could definitely be something we're looking for in the cards. If that does in fact happen, that's where I'd be looking for that reversal back down to our support levels, whatever our next support level may be. So right now I'm looking for a rise up through 70, then looking for the reversal there. However, if we can't break through this 68.74 area, and I'm saying close above it, then I'm looking for a short back down to 65.77. But let's go take a look at some orders that definitely sparked my interest in this particular security. Alright, so most notably, we are looking at these orders right here. We got 4,000 traded at the 72.50 calls, and then 2,000 traded at the 68.50s. So this is what told me that we're looking for a rise through 70. These were both buy rights, so somebody just made these themselves, contracts that came out of nowhere, and whoever did it was fairly confident in the fact that we're probably going to get a rise through 70 and then it's going to stay range bound for a while above the 68.50s. So that's what tells me that we're looking for a rise in this one. However, this could just be a vertical, in which case they're looking for a fallback, and they sold the lower strikes, and they're looking for a fall down through 68.50 or below, staying below 68.50, and just cashing in on all of these. So 72.50 calls were sold, 68.50 calls were sold, and they're looking for. But the fact that there's such a wide spread between here is about $1.40, means somebody got about $1.40 credit to make this, and they're hoping it stays range bound between 68.50 and 72.50. So to me, we're looking at 72.50 being the upper resistance level, and MPC could definitely be looking at a nice rise up this week. Alright, our next symbol here is ticker symbol CBS, and this one's pretty simple. Obviously the sellers are in control here, but I'm looking for a fallback to 34.72, looking for an entry around there for rise back up to, I think it was 37 or 35, 36.50, which would be about a $2 move if you can get that entry at 34.72, which is hopefully what we're going to get. That'd be the minimum I want it to hold. However, if we hold our current level, then we're definitely looking for a rise up to around 37.50. Let's take a look at some trades here, and we're going to find what is the most interesting. So the biggest orders that we have are at our 35 level, which is why we're looking for the support around that 34.70, 34.80 area. And our biggest seller, which I would imagine, because this has only gone down in value since it's been opened up, is the 37.50. So we're looking at 37.50 being our resistance, 35 being support, and that's why we're looking for a fallback down again to this 34.72 area for a rise up to 36.50, and then if we hold where we are, then we're looking for 37.50 to be our next target. That's pretty much it for CBS. For fairly simple trade, easy. Breaks below 34.72, forget about it. Gets above it, get in. I'll be getting in. 34.72 will be my stop out area, and I'll wait for that rise up to 37.50. Alright, so our next symbol here is VIAB, VIAB, Viacom Incorporated. This one just made all-time lows, 2108, and we're looking for 2144 to hold, at the very minimum 2108. Anything below and wait for it to come back above is what I will be watching for. This one is triggered for a reversal, and 21 calls had 800 traded at 75 cents. Added to them on the 24th. You can see this is the 24th. They get a nice little rise up. Didn't exit their position though, so it's still in it. 800 calls, not a huge order, but still fairly big considering. And that is what we're going to be watching. You see them, those trades right there. Still maintaining. Not a lot of resistance on this side, so not a lot of put sellers left in this, or put buyers I should say, expecting anything to happen. Definitely got some small guys thinking that maybe we could see some rises up, and no great support levels to be, or no great resistance levels to look at, so definitely be looking at the chart for technical exits. We saw 325 being taken off here. They had a nice little gain for them, so that was probably enough. But the bigger players still holding in there for something more. They're right at break even at the moment, so I think it's reasonable to expect a nice little rise out of this one, possibly for around $2. So we'll keep an eye on it and see how this goes forward. Alright, last symbol here we got is ticker symbol SIX, and this one had a nice sell-off after earnings. and it just plummeted down to our multi-year support. First one was 44.04, couldn't hold there, sold off some more into 43.03, seems to be holding there. That's where we want it to stay. If it can't hold 43.03, then we're looking at 41.68 being our next level. If it does happen to hold though, looking for a close above it for at least a day, then we could get in, and we're looking for first price target 44.04, second price target 45.27. Had one interesting order that supports this idea, so we're going to go take a look at it right now. Okay, so these are just the time and sales, nothing really huge there. The biggest order that we found, we're looking at these 45 strikes. Had 587 added into them Thursday and Friday on some bearish activity, so these could be put call sellers expecting some more fallback, or we're looking at some possible support here around this area and a rise up through 45. So that is what we'll be looking for this week. Another thing we'd like to see is maybe some more added activity down below the market, some put sellers. That would be definitely a nice confirmation saying that people believe that Six Flags has dropped far enough, and they believe that selling puts has now become a great thing to do. But remember, the market is at all-time highs or close to it, and we could be looking for a push higher, and after that push higher we could be looking at a slow controlled sell, which means less buying for securities and sell-offs in weaker securities. So we'll keep an eye out for that this week. I want to thank you for watching my watch list. I hope you found it helpful. I know we had some great picks last week, some 200-300% winners. Hopefully we can find them again this week for you, and I will talk to you next time.